Hello my Funatics, it's Fufu here, and this weekend I am bringing you some footage from the GBA D-League tournament. I'm not sure if you are aware of it or not, but this was a tournament running for qualifying into the GBA D-League and also for seeding if you get that far. What the GBA is, you should probably know about it because it's the big thing. Magnitude started it all off, and it's a draft league where people play against each other. They draft 10 Pokemon and you get to see the opponent's 10 Pokemon before you can try and pick Pokemon that match up well against theirs and go at it with some interesting sets, and it's really creative and really exciting and something that you should really be into. It's a really great thing. So the GBA D-League is basically a separate one of those. They've already got one running, they want to run another one while the first one is having a break. And I want to be a part of that, so I signed up for this tournament. The tournament is similar to how the D-League works. You have to pick 9 Pokemon. Again, you'll get to see the opponent's 9 Pokemon, and from that you will pick 6 Pokemon for each battle. So the 9 Pokemon that you pick, 3 have to be OU, 3 have to be UU, and 3 have to be RU or NU. I'll quickly take you through my picks for the tournament. My OU picks consisted of Mega-Manectric and Landorus as 2 of them, because they make a nice Volt Turn Intimidate core, which is really cool. I like Mega-Manectric because as an electric type, it's fast and speedy enough that it doesn't have to rely on choice items, and so you can Volt Switch around but also be able to switch up moves, which is really great in case ground types want to come in. You can try and hit them up with something else. And I like Lando because he's very versatile. He can be like a rock polish offensive set or a banded set, but also a defensive set with rocks, or it can be a scarf set, which is a very, very good set. So I like that, and it keeps the opponents guessing, so they'll have to play around it a bit differently depending on what set it is. My next OU pick is Mew. Now, Mew, on the face of it, isn't necessarily that scary or threatening, but in this kind of thing, Mew is incredible just because it is so versatile. It can literally be anything and the opponent will be guessing, and that's really, really useful. So Mew can be defensive, it can be specially defensive, it can be specially or physically offensive, it can run setup sweeping sets with Sword Stance or Nasty Plot, it could be utility with rocks, defog, it learns loads of status moves, it can also learn U-turn and Volt Switch, so that will benefit my Volt Turn core, it can run choice, it can run AV, it just can be anything, and that's why I love it so much, and that's why it's on my team, because it could be on whatever team the opponent brings, it could have a role against it, so that's why I like Mew. So moving on to my UU picks, I decided that Suicune was a strong one because he is so bulky. He's a massive threat in terms of the Crocoon set, but also it gets the opponents thinking about that they have to bring something for Suicune. So basically they're forced into using one of those Pokemon as a Suicune counter. So even if I don't bring Suicune, Suicune is doing a job by making the opponent change their team for it. And that's really cool. And also I like it because it can be a surprise. I don't necessarily want to run Crocoon all the time I bring Suicune. So it can run just a defensive set with Roar, with Toxic. It can run a Carmine 3 attack set or have Sub, or it can take them off guard with just some quirky moves, and I think that's really cool. The next thing I wanted was some special bulk, which came in the form of Snorlax. Snorlax is slow, and my team so far is kind of fast with the Volt Turning going on, so you may think I'd lose momentum, but because Snorlax is powerful as well as bulky, it means that he doesn't lose momentum. You keep the offensive pressure on, so that's very important for this team. I love Snorlax a lot. He can run a Rest Talk set, he can run an AV set. That's probably about the extent of it, to be fair. He can run Banded if you want. But yeah, he's really good at what he does. He tanks so many special hits. It's really, really, really good. The final UU poke that I wanted to use was Alakazam, which is a great Pokemon, and I like it because it's just contingency. If there's something that you had overlooked on the opponent's team, or one of their Pokemon gets set up and you didn't really realise that it would be such a threat, you've got the Focus Sash Magic card coming in handy there. So you've always got some contingency to hit them hard. And with Alakazam's amazing coverage, that's definitely a boon to the team. Now, my RUs and NUs, basically they're there to plug holes in the current team, and they do that very well. Cobalion was my next pick, and it really fills all the gaps that needed to be filled. So at the moment, my team was very Bishop weak, and that's mainly due to the Volt Turn Intimidate core giving it loads of Defiant boosts. So that's not what we wanted to do. Cobalion's a hard stop to that. Also, it's a nice speedy setup sweeper, which is not necessarily something I had before, depending on Mew's role. So I can run a Sword Stance set there. It also gets Volt Switch, which is good, and it can be defensive with the rocks, so it's a nice utility mon as well. The next thing was Tangrowth. I wanted a grass type just for the type. I wanted another water and grass resist, basically. And again, it can be physically or specially offensive, which is good. Catch the opponent off guard with some cool moves. And it's a nice Pokemon to use. It can be AV as well. It's good. The final Pokemon is one of my favourites, though. It's a long time favourite, and that is Skuntank. I like it because, again, it's the holes on the team. I didn't really have any priority apart from Mew before Skuntank, so I got a powerful Sucker Punch there. We've also got another Defog user other than Mew, so it just frees up Mew to do other things as well. And good typing means that Toxic Spikes can be absorbed. Having Dark type attack is good. Pursuit Trapping on a Volt Turn team, very, very useful. And also just really, really, really good thing to hit Fairy types, which I am kind of scared of at the moment. If an AV Skuntank set is probably quite good at doing that. So that was the team very quickly, some of the ideas behind it. I hope that made sense to you, and I'm sorry it took so long for me to explain it, but I thought it would be quite interesting for you to see the team. Now, my first battle was against RhyQuinn, who is another YouTuber. I'll leave his link in the description. Go check his channel out, please. It would be doing me a favour. And yeah, so he had drafted some really scary Pokemon. It was a very bulky team. Just for an example, his 3OU Pokemon were a Mega Venusaur, a Rotom Wash, and a Mandibuzz. So pretty scary, really. Very, very bulky Pokemon. And then he has a Rhyperior as well, which is really great for the synergy there. So I was pretty scared. The things that I needed to watch out for, I wanted to get rid of the Rhyperior because it stops Volt turns going on. It's very, very defensive. And Snorlax, I mean, I could have run a Snorlax Rest Talk Curse set if it weren't for that Rhyperior, but I definitely thought he'd be bringing Rhyperior, so I didn't bring that Snorlax set. He had a Smeargle, so I definitely wanted Defog on my team, so that's what I did on Skuntank. But he had the Galvantula as well, and also Rocks on Rhyperior, so I wanted the Skuntank for Defog in case he brought that. What else was important? I just felt like I needed something for Rhyperior, so that was going to be defensive Mew. Other than that, I brought my Volt Turn core in Scarf, Lando, and Mega-Manectric with the Hidden Power Grass for the Rhyperior. Alakazam was there for maybe late game sweeping. It has the Energy Ball for the Rhyperior and the Psyshock for the Cryogonal, and Dazzling Gleam for Mandibuzz, and I can't remember what the other move was, but I couldn't hit that Delphox, I remember that. And then Snorlax was here with some Pursuit Trapping. He was AV and just to catch things like that Noivern. So that was the team that I brought. We can see how it works out as we go along. So I predicted him to lead off with his Galvantula for the Sticky Web. So I led off with my Scarf Lando to outspeed, just get the U-turn off. I mean, I can't really stop him setting up the Sticky Web, but I do have my Defog Skuntank, and I do a really nice 50% on the first turn. That was more damage than I had expected from an unstab U-turn, but very nice. And I go into Podge, which is my Snorlax. He can tank any hit that a Galvantula wants to go for. Volt Switch, Stab Volt Switch does like 12%. I expected him to maybe go into Rhyperior to take any hit that Podge wants to go for, so I go for a Seed Bomb, but he actually goes into Noivern. I stay in. I was anticipating a trick for the Scarf there, but actually he just hits me with a Dragon Pulse, and that's not going to do anything because I am AV Podge. So I can tank that all day, and I managed to KO with a Body Slam, and he stays in, presumably because he got paralyzed, and I can pursue him to death. I didn't want him leaving. Now he goes into Venusaur. I switch out into my Funky Skunk because I can take either of his stabs really well. If he has Earthquake, that is a problem, but this Skunk is specifically designed for Venusaur because he has a safety goggles for the Sleep Powder, which I thought might be happening, and I wanted Skunk to be assured the defog whenever Venusaur comes in, so that worked out really well. Unfortunately, he has the Leech Seed, which means that Skunk can't win one-on-one against the Venusaur. I will have to switch out. So here, I do switch out and go into my Podge, because he can tank hits from the Venusaur, and actually is probably my best bet for Sleep Fodder right here. He goes into Rhyperior, though. I know I can't really take any hits from him. He's seen the Seed Bomb, though, so that's probably why he switched into Venusaur. Into Cryogonal, as I go into... No, he switched into Venusaur, and I taunt the Cryogonal as it comes in. But I don't have a Psychic type attack on me, so I couldn't hit the Venusaur anyway. I managed to bring Podge in on the Cryogonal and hit it with a Pursuit to take it down to 5%, which is ridiculous. And I stay in here to try and get a Zen Headbutt off on the Venusaur, but he just puts me to sleep, and that's good sleep fodder for me. I'm happy enough with that. So I can switch out my Podge here and go into my Mew to try and get a burn on the Venusaur, but he switches into Rhyperior. Works out really well for me because this is a defensive Mew specifically for this Rhyperior. I managed to get the burn off, and that means whatever he wants to go for next time I can take. Even if it's a Mega Horn, I know that I can take that really well after the burn, so I'm very happy about that. And you'll see here that the Mega Horn does very little damage at all. I can get my rocks up. The first miss really didn't matter because it wasn't doing enough damage to the point where he'd be able to take me out. So I'd still be able to get my rocks up and roost up and stall him a bit. Now he's at the point of health where I'm just going to switch into Lando, get the Intimidate off, and we'll be able to KO with the EQ after this turn of burn damage. So that's exactly what I do. Lando's looking pretty good here. Because seeing as though the rocks are up, the Cryogonal's dead, I can Earthquake everything on his team, and he's pretty much forced to go into the Venusaur here. So I can switch out, go into my Stew the Mew again, because I've seen with the Leech Seed my Skuntank can't take it on, so I want to get the burn on it. If I get the burn on it, then Skuntank probably can win one-on-one against it, because he won't be getting enough health back with the Leech Seed when I'm Poison Jabbing him at the same time. I do miss the first Wisp, but I'm just going to roost up and try again. You may have noticed my Mew doesn't have any offensive moves on, but it doesn't need any. I didn't think that he'd be bringing a Taunter. He didn't look to have a Taunter unless it was Mandibuzz, but I could taunt it first and try and get a burn on it as well. So I'm just going to roost up here. I've got the burn on the Venusaur. I can stall it out a bit. I'm surprised he hasn't gone for Leech Seed already, because that would definitely be helping him in this scenario. Just getting the passive recovery and doing a bit more damage to me, so that Sludge Bombs are doing over 50%. He does get the poison, but I'm still able to roost up and gain health each turn, so that's good for me. And I'm going to roost up one more time as he switches into the Galvantula. At this stage, I'm going to switch straight into Lando. If he doesn't go for the HP Ice here, something is going to die. So that's a good thing for me. Lando is looking very strong at this stage. He goes for the Bug Buzz. I can resist that, take it very nicely, and just go for the Earthquake here, taking out the Galvantula. So that's very good. He could have sacked his Cryogonal there. That would probably have been the best play for him, but it didn't happen. So now he has to go into the Venusaur again, as I would take out the Delphox. And at this stage, Skuntank can come in, and he's looking pretty good to go, because now that the Venusaur is burned, even if he goes to Leech Seed, I can probably take him on. Doing 25% with the Poison Jab, which is a very nice amount, and with the burn I'm going to be able to take it out next turn, and the Delphox can come in next time. It'll take the rocks damage and easily be within Sucker Punch range from there, so I can take that out. Cryogonal dies to rocks. That was a good battle. Thank you very much for the battle, RhyQuinn. I felt a bit bad at the time for having 6-0'd him, but this tournament, it's important to get those differentials. If at the end of the group stage I'm left with the same win-loss ratio as someone else in my group, they look at the differentials in the matches. So at the moment I'm +6 after my first one, which is a very strong start, and if I win another one and then lose one, and one of the other people in my group do, they'd have to look at the differentials, and already starting with a +6 is a good start, and hopefully going the right way towards that. But you will see the next battles soon this weekend to see if I can carry on such success or if not. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on my picks and my 9 picks, but also the sets that I brought to this match. You didn't get to see my Alakazam or Manectric because my other things handled the team well enough. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear how you think I performed. Other than that, I've been Fufu, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Bye!